you are good to go.
All right, hello everybody. I am Victory Cannon back again for Mega Man X8. But what's this? It looks a little different than you might remember from the run on Friday. This is Mega Man X8 16-bit, a fan game made by Alison DePaz, I believe his name is. Excellent demake of Mega Man X8. Changes a lot of things about the game that I think make it a really fun and interesting game in its own right. So today I'm going to be running 100%, which means we're going to be going through and collecting all of X's armor pieces, heart tanks, sub-tanks, everything there is to grab. The only thing that we won't be doing is the secret bosses, because those are not required for the 100% run because they don't give you anything. But for what it's worth, there are secret bosses in this game, and they're all really cool. So, yeah, that's the plan. And I guess without further ado, we're going to push some buttons here in 3, 2, 1, let's jam. Yo, what's up, Kitsune? How's it going? All right, starting out, we're going into Noah's Park. So, as you can see, like, everything's pretty much been overhauled to resemble the 16-bit era of Mega Man X, so Mega Man X 1, 2, 3, and the only thing that's really been changed is that, well, not the only thing, I should say. The game has also been adjusted to kind of bring it more in line with those games, so there's no team mechanic, it is just X. I know there are mods to make Zero, and I think Axel playable, which is pretty cool. But X is going to be our main star here today. But trust me, he alone is going to be more than enough to get the job done. But already, you know, the beautiful sprite work on display, just, I love it. We do get to keep the original soundtrack, though, which is fantastic. And I gotta say, I don't think I've appreciated X8's soundtrack more than when I finally got to play this game. So, that's enough gushing. What are we doing? Right now, we're just making our way through. Oh, I'm kind of scuffing a lot of movement here now. That's all right. So, we're nearly done with the intro stage, but for now, it's just a lot of running, dashing, jumping at the right times. You will notice that X does have an air dash, like he does in X8. So, unlike the traditional SNES games, he has an air dash, and honestly, I think it adds a lot of really fun snappiness to his movement. It's really cool. So, unfortunately, we don't get to see the re-interpretations of the cutscenes because I am playing on the speedrun mod version of the game, which cuts out the cutscene and a lot of the dialogue so that we can just get straight to the meat of it. Of course you would give me that now. And now we're at Crab Z, which is, you know, a much, I would say, easier variant of the one that we get in OG X8. It's just, you know, hang here, hang out on the wall, shoot him a few times, and we're going to be done before you know it. Okay, kind of traded there a little bit, but can you not push buttons? Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that, Monker. So for part of it, I actually won't be pressing buttons. I'm going to be using the mouse, because one cool thing that this game does is it lets you use the mouse to navigate the menu screen. So that allows you to kind of quickly and snappily select your next Maverick, your stage, your armor, all that stuff. It's pretty cool. But we're starting out with Bamboo Pandemonium. Because there is a very important upgrade we need to get here. And I would argue that I don't actually know who did the routing, but I thank them for it, because I would argue that this is the hardest stage to do out of the gate, because our goal is to carry this ride armor all the way to the end of the stage, because we needed to get armor throughout the stage, and we needed to get a heart tank that's at the very end. So it's kind of important. So if I get quiet, it's because I am trying to focus, because I do not want to lose this armor. The other cool thing we get to do is we get to bring it in here to face off with Vile. Vile's back, and we're gonna bully him a little bit. I'm not doing my best. I'm trying not to lodge myself into his hitbox, but he does take a pretty good beating from the right armor, so not too bad. Took more damage than I would have liked, because if we do manage to carry the armor to the end of the stage, then that means we get to use it against Pandemonium, which is great, but because of how little health it has, it's unlikely to last the whole fight. All right, first armor upgrade. I think these are the Hermes legs, which is going to give us the ability to double jump and double air dash, which is going to be super useful and take our snappy movement and make it even snappier and better. So, all right, let me focus. Didn't focus well, but that's all right. Didn't lose the armor, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, like I said, it's very important to carry this armor to the end because of this next area right here specifically. Displaying that double air dash, double jump as best I can. It's a really fun bit of movement tech, and it really adds some snappy. I use the word snappy a lot, but it's just cool. It's fun. All right, hang on. All right, we've officially completed the collection requirements, which is great. Now we just have to go deal with Pandemonium. That stresses me out, but we're here. I'll be honest, as long as I made it this far, I'm okay. Because getting to this point is really the hard part. If you lose that armor at any point in the stage, that means you basically have to take a death to go get it again. Because you cannot get that heart tank unless you want to come back later, unless you want to revisit and go to the very end of the level, which kind of sucks. All right. Now, the cool thing is that even once the right armor runs out of health, which it just did, it does give you a period where it'll still continue to function. All right there. There we go. All right. I lost the armor, but we did beat Pandemonium. No deaths. I'll take it. Goal achieved. Oh, yeah. All right. Step 1. Defeat the panda. Mission accomplished. All right. And our next target shall be Gigabolt Man of War. Now, originally, Man of War was an auto-scroller, but no longer. I think one of the things that I really enjoy about the 16-bit demake is that it takes a lot of the weighting and a lot of the, I'd say, awkward movement of the original and really makes it much more enjoyable across the board. So instead of having areas where you are stuck dealing with waves of enemies or having to navigate unusual ride chaser moments, everything just kind of flows more, I guess, cohesively between X's regular gameplay and the newer or alternative gameplay styles like the ride chaser. Is cool. Also, you can do this. Wait for it, and goodbye, door. You can just run the ride chaser into it and destroy it. You can also ride on top of the ride chaser and do that, but I wouldn't recommend it. It hurts you. I didn't realize you could jump off for the longest time, so I was just taking stupid damage for a while. But there you go. All right, and so like our venture into Bamboo Pandemonium, we have a few items to get here. We've gotten one. We got the heart tank. But now we have to get the next armor upgrade, and I would argue that this might be the most important. Everyone talks about the... well, hang on. I take that back. I got ahead of myself. This one is important. This one is very important. We're going for our Buster piece, which is going to allow us to overcharge our Buster, and it's going to allow us to charge our special weapons. But more than that, hang on. I need to go back. I need to do this jump. Jumped. That's a rough jump, so apologies. It may take me a few tries, but it's pretty tight. So we're gonna head back. But anyway, the Buster is gonna give me access to the big, like, Shin Hadouken laser, which is great. Wow. I may just need more speed. For some reason, that jump is just the bane of my existence. I got it okay in practice, but... Oh, thank you, health. That's great. So let me get a... Ooh. There we go. That's what I was missing. Got it. All right, cool. So we're going to hop in here, grab our Buster upgrade, and then we're going to do some surfing, which is great. So let's take a charge up really quick. Get to overcharge, and riding on missiles. Let's go. So then we can just cruise across the rest of the stage, and bam, we're done. We are at Man-O-War. It's such a cool bit of movement tech. I love it. And we're going to do it again in the next level, too. Meanwhile, we have to take on Gigavolt Man-O-War. My least favorite. He's partially my least favorite because of these guys. Whoop. And also partially because of this attack. Okay. All right, he's dead though, and I lived on a pixel. Oh God. Oh, that was scary. Oh God, but we're alive. Okay. Okay, we're fine. Honestly, I'll take that. Whew. Clenched it, clutched it out. Thank God. All right, and now we're on to Yeti. All right, so Yeti, much like Man-O-War, is a ride chaser level. So, but it gives it to us a little bit later. We got to do some movement first. Also, we got to steal it. We got to jack it off of that guy. That's okay. Don't worry about that. Don't think about that too hard. It is our ride chaser, and always was. What? Okay. Well, that's fine. We'll get another one. I'm just... Whew. There we go. That was silly, but that's okay. We didn't die. No deaths. I'll take it. I'll be honest. I didn't know that gap was there. I've never fallen there before. But there, now you know. All right, but now we're going to make our way up here. Whew, that guy really tried. He did. He was coming for me. He saw me at my lowest low and said, he's mine. I'm going to get him. But anyway, more missile surfing. And now we are coming up to what I might argue is the most important armor piece for the run. So the Buster upgrade is great, but the Buster upgrade is not nearly as nice without this helmet upgrade. The helmet lets us charge our Buster faster, and it lets us use our charged attacks for free, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. Especially when you think about how much or how important X's charged shots are for movement in this game. And I'll be showing off a lot of that here in a little bit, in the next stage, actually. I didn't go too far. Nope, I think we're good. I gotta make sure I make it into this chasm here. Woo! Okay, cool. All right, hop up here. We're gonna come down really quick. Grab our E-tank. Up. And then we're just gonna cruise on through. Make sure we get to Bamboo Pandemonium. And for the beginning of the fight, I'm going to keep my regular Buster on instead of using his weakness, which is Thunder Dancer. just because our regular Buster, our Shin Hadoken, is going to be great for dealing with some projectiles that he throws out. He'll try and throw some snowflakes at us. Yeah, right there. Okay, that was close. That was closer than it needed to be. I don't know why I insist on finishing these with a pixel, but oh, it's fine. We didn't die.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my god, he made it. He trudged through the snow to be here. It's Tempest. Oh my god.
What the heck? Oh jeez. Avalanche
what
gave me the worst time possible, man.
I believe it, man.
You saved my butt from freezing into the next ice age.
And it was the least I could do, man. Everybody welcome Tempest. Say hello. Tempest, you are just in time. We are descending into hell. I mean, the oil refinery. What's up?
It might as well be hell.
Might as well be. We're after the rooster next. But yeah, welcome to the couch, man. How you doing?
Feeling good. Can't lie, this is a great game to be one of our last of the Mega Man showcases here for Derpathon 2. And let me tell you all, especially after having done a race of the vanilla game, I can easily say I have that greater depth of understanding between one and the other now. So let's heck and go. This game
absolutely.
rocks. And let's start by talking about what exactly this level has to offer differently from Burn Rooster from the original. For one, no auto-scrollers. This entire level was effectively made with the same level design in mind, just in a less of a forced camera scrolling perspective. Of course, there's a little bit of oh, hang on a second.
Whoop. That's close. Yeah, like at the beginning, you can... Yeah, sorry.
No, go. You go ahead. You go ahead.
All I was going to say is, like, just adding to what Tempest is saying, the beginning section, normally you would have been stuck having to deal with the camera scrolling you down, but in this version, you can scroll it down as fast as you can move, which is nice. That was all. That's all I had.
No, yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, yeah, there is a little bit of original level portion to the whole mix. Same idea, yes, but, like, there is still something about it that is, and yet isn't quite the same, per se. And you're also going to see right here, too, that acquiring the armor capsule takes a bit of a nod to X3, but is also effectively made a whole lot more, dare I say, easier, but, like, in a certain sense. Like, you still have to avoid the instant death traps, and that's where the Drift Diamond Shoryuken comes into play this time around.
Oh, it's so fun.
Also, that gap right there is infinitely better than what you have to deal with in the vanilla game, because that is the tightest thing, and you cannot even think to use Zero's double jump. You need to air dash after a single wall kick.
Oh.
In the original game, that is. But here's the section that effectively replaces the escape sequence from the original. This time around, it's more of a, I want to say, a Sonic the Hedgehog type trap when it comes to avoiding something that's chasing after you, kind of like,
oh yeah,
oh man.
Oh, it's very reminiscent of Labyrinth Zone from Sonic 2, yeah, where you have this flume of lava chasing you through. I gotta knock it. Oh, wait a second. You know what? Just because I know Rooster's gonna be a bit of a butt, we'll just take that. Yeah. Take a little safety on that. But we're good.
Yeah,
we're fine.
Good call. Good call. Fun fact about the lava, by the way, you can use Yeti's weapon, and it will create ice cubes that you can use as platforms.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's one of those small details that not many people would naturally think of, because who would, in their right mind, would normally think to try it? I mean, it's lava. It's one of the hottest substances on God's green earth. It's supposed to melt the stuff, and yet here we are. Which, again, also plays into the fact that yet another fire boss in Mega Man is weak to ice. The age-old question of which is which never ceases to confuse us Mega Man gamers time after time.
But not too much trouble done. We've dealt with Burn Rooster. Frozen him out.
Rooster. I love the fact, too, though, that with Alcin de Paz's work done here, this feels a lot more like a homage to Blaziken in terms of, like, you're actually fighting one, per se. Shout out to Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. Like, his general presence, like, feels a lot more Blaziken, a lot more animated, I would say. But maybe that's just my preference to the style, to the 2D style. Oh god. Hi,
well,
bud.
not to mention, too, that we completely remove the presence of the moving platforms from the original Battlefield as well. That's completely gone.
Oh, that's true.
Too.
Yeah. Correct.
And yeah, back to Earthrock Trilobite, except this time around, we can't skip the robot, but on the bright side, it's not what the entire stage is comprised of. And
yeah, shows up a couple times.
Second, I think stream is buffering a little bit.
Oh, right. I forgot. Do you need me to share my stream? I kind of forgot I wasn't. Oops. Also,
yeah, feel free to, but I'm saying like stream feed is actually lagging on the events end.
Oh, that's not great. Well, we'll take a beat for both of them then. Let me see. I'll leave that timer going. Oh, yeah, no, that's definitely a big buffer. Let me see if it's dropping frames on my end. It's not on my end. So, but while I'm doing that, let me share my screen with you.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, excellent. Where's the game? Where's the video game? There it is. Okay, cool. All right, Tempest, you now have my screen. There we go. And back into it. Oh my god.
All right. Yeah, let's pretend that little tech gremlin did not happen and instead talk about what it replaces the Melt Creeper, and instead we have the Fire Dash. Everybody loves a good speed burner, except this is effectively based off of Azure Striker Gunvolt with the Bullet Dash, which is Copen's feature. I should know as a runner of the series myself, and it is the coolest thing. It's also effective for destroying spikes, which that's also something Bamboo Pandemonium's weapon can do. It's amazing to see how overhauled the weapon system effectively is in this game, just by, you know, all the minor and major differences, you know, what went into this, what went into that, what's the same, what's different, or how is it better. There's just, it's amazing, and it's so hard to put into words. But again, it's just one of the nice things, too, about this level getting overhauled, is that we also have something that goes a bit deeper into the Earthrock aspect of Trilobite's namesake, and you have this wonderful mining cave. Just seriously, this was a great choice. Now that sub-tank right there we just picked up, you don't have to destroy the spikes. You can attempt to go for it in the risky-ish way. The whole thing where you're trying to
I
dash
just don't trust
the moment
myself.
you collect it. Yeah, no, it's a bit more preferred to just do it the safer way, also cathartic.
Oh yeah.
Now, of course, we can't get rid of the mining robot forever. We do have to do the boss fight, the mini-boss, where we have to push the crane into its head. But thankfully, without the 2.5D perspective, it is also made a lot simpler this way, in that we don't have to angle our shots in a certain manner. And also, the crane will hit the robot's head. There's hardly a time where it won't in this case.
Oh yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Just to kind of put a touch on this before we get to Trilobite, I think my favorite thing about the way they've overhauled the boss abilities is that every one of them has utility for movement, not just damage, not just, you know, as a boss weakness. Like, they're all for getting you around the stage in new and fun ways, which I don't think any other X game that I can think of has done quite as well. Not that I can think of anyway. I don't know why I moved, but it's fine. He'll be dead.
I mean,
shortly.
Yeah, no, just can't really.
Like you have fun stuff from other games, like, you know, the Nova Strike or certain abilities that let you do like small movement attacks, but nothing as grand as like your Thunder Dasher dash or your Ice Shoryu in this game, like that you can just throw out often enough. Also, Trilobite's dead anyway.
Yes. And the world is made better for it.
It sure
also,
is.
nice little touch with the Desperation move. You can destroy the crystals now, which, hey, makes this a lot less of a pushover and a lot more of a I can get through this just fine sort of aspect. We can just brute force our way in. And, yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about the idea of, you know, weapon secondary purpose addendum and movement purposes in general, but we actually should talk about Optic Sunflower here, because this entire level, similar aspect of you have a series of trials to go through. Big difference, it's only 3 rooms, and you could basically make the equivalent to, say, that of Cyber Peacock, except the big difference is you don't have to A-rank the level. You can just do what Victory did and use the lightning dance to just go straight through those gates, which is hilarious. But I think Allison also did intend that. So, in all fairness, there is oh yeah, that overhang room is back, except it's made a lot less of a, I want to say cringy way, except I figured there was a better word I could have used just now for that too.
I will say,
no,
while you can circumvent the regular rooms this way, if you want to see everything the game has to offer, you're going to need to get those S ranks.
Absolutely. And to that point, there's also the built-in achievement system where you do get rewarded for doing an entire run, deathless and all S's. I did get that myself to know that for sure. Oh! Ooh. See, that right there is especially...
That's fine.
Yeah, you thought you had that cleared.
I thought I had another jump. Anyway, that was my bad. That's fine.
This level likes to make us stumble in all sorts of places, even in speech patterns.
Oh yeah. Thankfully.
This again, this is another room that takes after the original level design, except we now have the means of safely destroying the spikes, so yeah, not too big of a problem here.
Okay, there we go.
Still a little problematic, though, if I'm being honest.
A little bit, yeah.
But you're noticing the ranking meter here, and that actually does take after Devil May Cry in that you want to avoid taking damage, otherwise you will lose ranking points just like that. You also have a time limit involved, too, that you want to try and also clear the entire segment by as well. And most importantly, too, destroying enemies in order to keep that rank raised. And as long as the bar is within that echelon, as you have your current letter grade being shown, you're basically good to go.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know. I don't think I have anything else to add. It's just like the game encourages you to go fast, kill enemies quickly, and don't take damage. And if you do it perfectly... that's how you get the S. All right, Sunflower.
I love that S.
Oh, that's right.
Optic Sunflower is a bit of a laser jerk here. He likes to warp from side to side, not unlike that of Spike Rose Red from X5, but also throws in a few gimmicks of his own. Those laser spheres, I forget if they do still trap you. The big difference being that because okay, good. Yeah, because the big difference being if they did, well, we don't have the team-up mechanic in order to free a stuck character in, so because the game was made with that single-player aspect in mind, or rather, single-character aspect in mind, yeah. But same as ever, he is weak to Bamboo Pandemonium's weapon.
Fun shout-out to Sonic here in a different way, because that sound effect is taken straight from the Death Egg robot in Sonic 3.
Very, very obviously so. It's also, it's hilarious. It's hilarious because it's unexpected for a game that tries to take after the SNES era style of things. But at the same time, we can also argue that, you know, the Sega Genesis was 16-bit as a console. So yeah. I think we can let it slide.
Oh, yeah, no. Personally, I like its inclusion because it still fits with the vibe. And I just see it as like an appreciation of the era as a whole. So thanks, Allison. Onto Mantis.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I do think they still show the screen of the weapon that fires the lasers. I just completely... my eyes might have glossed over it. I'm not sure if they do.
Oh, they do, yeah.
Okay, good, yeah. So Dark Mantis's level. Once again, this is with a stealth section in mind, and also the darkness aspect. This level is largely unchanged, however, there is a quality of life aspect that does keep X in mind, because for those who do remember, normally in the vanilla game run we would bring both Zero and Axel into the mix, but because neither of them are involved, this time around you might be wondering, how are we supposed to turn the lights back on? Well, the good news is Allison definitely kept that in mind. We don't have to apply ourselves as well, let's say we don't have to apply as many extra steps as compared to like the original game, where in Axel's case you had to use his copy shot, acquire the DNA of one of the guard robots, and then use A-Trans to then open up the door. Here, on the other hand, all you need is Gigabolt Man of War's little weapon to do exactly that, and then you also get the life up as a result of such. So really, it's a lot more simplified, and also with the disinclusion of rare metals, we don't have to do that extra sense of collecting either.
Is this okay, no. I'm keeping an eye out for the spike room, because that is one that, despite not really being that difficult to deal with, has scuffed me a few times.
It scuffed me during my race. I don't blame you whatsoever. It's not until after we pass what would have been the gauntlet room, though, so you still got a little bit of time, like right after the next vertical drop for sure. A quick mention too, those little trip laser objects, which you probably also did see in Gigabolt Man of War's stage. Interesting how Allison was able to commit the idea of having that sort of 3D perspective going to it, and it kind of blows my mind every time. As for those fan blades, I can't help but wonder if those were borrowed graphics from Katana Zero, because I know that Allison does use a couple of reused graphics, which is perfectly fine, by the way.
It's a fan game. He didn't make any money on this. It's fine.
No, not at all. In fact, there's actually one use of a certain background that we'll be seeing at the end game that I especially approve of, but that's neither here nor there for now. But yeah, we got the armor capsule here. A little different from its original positioning. Makes a bit of sense, though, and is also kind of I would say that's a bit of a nod to Flame Mammoth if I ever saw one.
I'd say so. Just a fun little vertical hike. Oh, that's right. We have our red health now.
No need for backtracking.
Nah. We got ourselves a fighting game going on now.
Yes, so consequentially, one of the things about having to run 100% with the demake is that we will have to collect some of the parts of the armors, the Hermes armor and the Icarus armor. The best setup involves not having a complete armor per se, but like we will have to collect some of those pieces no matter what, and for the time we will use those abilities until we complete the level. And so in this case, yeah, we have the undershirt stuff, the aspect of this armor piece reflecting what is originally a part of the vanilla game without the need of any kind of armor piece, except here it was mainly done because, you know, the health system here originally tries to go for what the 16-bit SNES era would have normally done. So, yeah. Ooh, that was cool!
Bull true.
That was cool.
That was pretty good. It's pretty tight.
I love me a good backwards hitbox kill.
Oh, yeah. Just goes to show you how nice the even the other variation of the Charged Buster is. Like, we love ourselves a good laser, but the that triple shot do be hitting. All right, swap to all reds. We keep the helmet because that's all we've got. All right, and then we're on to our last Maverick, Gravity and Tunyon.
Which in this case is also a little bit streamlined because, as Victory might have mentioned, a certain somebody will be guaranteed to show up as a mid-boss instead of that slog of a 3 to 4 minute, whatever you want to call it, really. Just much better for that Bax 2.
The, I guess the wave rooms is what I generally call them.
Yeah, I don't know, spiked cube blocks, whatever your fancy is.
It's fine.
But also, to that point, as we move into Antonian's stage, you'll also see a lot of familiar level design as well from the vanilla game, except unlike where in that game we could use some of Zero's techniques to trip the teleporter, we don't really have to do that because we can just outright destroy those boxes. So there's really no need to pull the gravity flipping switches for the most part.
Ooh.
Which is almost funny, just given how that trivializes the entire level gimmick. At least a good 85% of the way entirely. I said entirely twice.
That's fine.
Yeah, so,
do not know why I insist on face tanking it. There we go.
Sort of that runner's mentality, if you ask me.
Yeah. There we go. Either way, he's done. And we're coming up to, is it this? I think it's this room. Let me double check. No, next one. Cool. There's a room coming up where, yeah, here we go. Now this is the one I have to be careful of because, yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like, I've accidentally missed the capsule before because of that, but it's all right. It's fine. And now,
dude,
woo!
That was so clutch.
It's a fun way to do that. It's not, I would say, the smartest or the best, but it works. I don't know.
I mean, I've literally seen Killer Chair do damage boosts in 0-4 that are more dangerous than they're worth, but it still looks cool all the same, and that's no different.
There we go. Let me get my answer.
Oh, I'm not sure if Victory had mentioned it yet, but the existence of the cursor on the screen isn't without its merits, because you did see that with menuing through the armor selection, the game does have cursor support, and you can also use this to select the stages as well, which now that I think about it, is kind of sort of a nod to the original PC release of X8 Vanilla, really, because that especially was a thing there.
Oh, I actually never played the PC version, so neat.
I've recently done so in the pursuit of just, working through the overall vanilla speedrun. And, now that you know. And it's just interesting to see that done here in the remake as well, because let it be known, not a lot of modern-day video games really tend to do that with PC ports, so interesting that at least the Godot engine was more than able to accommodate that here.
Oh, yeah.
So Gravity Antonian, he's still weak to Mantis's weapons, and he's still going to drop cubes on us, go through the room, maybe try to flip it here and there if he so chooses, but we're just going to really keep stunning him. And to that point, the bosses and their weaknesses, this was done pretty cleverly too, I might add. They only undergo the hit stun animation or the weakness stun animation when it's the charge shot variants, not the regular versions.
That is actually a really good idea. I didn't notice that before, but all right, bud. Die.
And that is our Giga attack. So I had mentioned that we... Yeah, this is probably the only time we're going to use it. Yeah, like with the original vanilla X8, if you have the Icarus armor or the Hermes armor all pieced together, it will give you an extra little ability. In the case of the Hermes armor, it's the Giga attack. In the case of the Icarus armor, it's the X drive, which is similar to the major ability that the X3 golden armor gives you, more or less, but it's also like with the added bonus of invincibility. But now for the best jam in a level that was once an auto-scroller, but is an auto-scroller no more.
Now it is just such a fun level in its own right.
Oh, for sure. The Jacob elevator. Now, of course, we do have an elevator to start things off with. If you're feeling a bit risky for it, if you think you know the level in this portion good enough, you can outpace the elevator. Do keep in mind that in order to get completely over it, you still have that little ledge to hop over, so going in a little bit blind can be a bit tricky that way, but not a far cry from what you might see Mega Man X runners do in X4 for Split Mushroom stage. Yeah, we're also going to be using Fire Dash charged variants quite a bit here because level design does pretty much allow for it. It's a good way to go fast, but of course, also we're at the mercy of how it likes to bounce us around. We're not quite as in control as Copen would have been for his bullet dashes.
It's also quite possible that if you lose too much control, you can throw yourself off the ledge there, like I did when I was first learning this game. You'll just throw yourself into a fiery abyss.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. To be able to do this, to be able to do, I'm sorry, this? Oh, it's great. That was not a great showing, but, oh, that's much better. There we go.
Yeah, that was much better. Yeah, at this rate, we're just going through the late game, because that still has a total of 3 stages, which, you know, a little bit of a shame, but hey, nothing to it, because, again, quality of life updates really makes the experiences a lot more unique through them all, to the point that really, well, need I even mention what Austin did at first with the beta release of this game and what happens when you get to the Jacob elevator?
I mean, I think it'll be worth a shot when we get to the next, I think there's a place for it, but we'll hold off for just a bit.
True.
Because we're kind of going to get to see what it was, in a way.
In a way. But for now, we have one more elevator.
One more elevator.
Because again, this is the Jacob Space Elevator. They couldn't entirely keep it at one time alone. This thing has to have enough elevators to quantify as an orbital elevator in some way.
Right. It's plot relevant, therefore they have to include it somehow. But that's okay.
Exactly.
We don't mind.
What we do mind is the fact that Vile has to be fought yet again. Only, you know, this time around we have the Desperation move, and this one is a lot more intense. As you're seeing right there, instead of an entire slow-moving rotation that just serves nothing but wastes a lot of time, this one's a bit faster, and this one does test your reaction time quite a bit. As per the usual affair, he is weak to ice, so we just try to Shoryuken him, and then he's done so. But it won't be the last time we see him either, which...
not quite.
Unfortunate, but hey. You know, the one thing I will give in favor of X8 is the idea that I really do like this design of Vile. And maybe that's just my bias, because green is my favorite color, but...
I mean, that's fair. I'd say I'd like Vile V over Vile Mark III from X3, but I think my favorite will always be the purple.
Right, the original purple is practically iconic.
Okay, now I just
have
to remember how to
this time around, we are in the Gateway Satellite. Now, there is a way to skip it. Whether or not you want to go about that, well, let's just say there's just a teensy bit of controversy surrounding that sort of thing, because the whole way of skipping, the whole way of doing what's called Gateway Skip involves having a completed save file and loading the game in a sort of way that lets you entirely skip the boss refights that would normally be happening in, well, this very level. However, most of us also very much appreciate what Allison did here, in that instead of outright fighting the bosses, this is a nod to another fan game, that being Mega Man Unlimited. And in that case, you had a very brief section involving the Robot Master's level design before you would then go to face the boss themselves. So this is a very similar aspect in that case. And yeah, shout out to Mega Man Unlimited and the creator, I believe Mega Phil, if I recall correctly. Not to be confused with Phil 7, who, great runner by the way, great Mega Man community runner. But yeah, this is where we jump into the interesting aspect of what makes this boss fight also just a lot more unique than what X8 Vanilla had going. The game requires you to collect these crystals within these levels before fighting the bosses. And it's what happens when you collect 2 that the boss room will become available. However, you're seeing Victory do something a bit interesting here. See, the teleporters look like they're closed off, but in fact, the glass is breakable, and we can use Bamboo Pandemonium's weapon to just regain access to them. So you're actually seeing us collect these... We're gonna go for all 8 of them. We are.
Yeah.
Which then makes you wonder, but wait, what exactly would that imply? I'm not saying anything else from here, but like... It has a very interesting consequence, but it's also considerably faster to do it this way too. For now, enjoy the chill level vibes going on here.
the gateway vibes. Always a good time.
This level design was always interesting to me because it also feels a bit reminiscent to the gate, or the gate presser climb. It's not really a gate; it's more of a presser than a gate from the intro level.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, a nice little callback there. Whether intentionally or not, I guess.
There seems to be a lot of X intro levels that have that gimmick. X4 had it. X2 had it.
X5 had it.
X5 did have it, yes. Oh, I think that's it. Oh no, X7. X7.
Okay, I just gotta be careful.
I should know
because
I do speedrun that game after all. Yeah, nice little detail here too. Yeah, I have been speedrunning X7. I just,
nice.
It was JP that reached out to me about X8, and so I figured I'd do that too. But yeah, real quick, this nice little detail about the darkness mechanic here. You did notice that the Lightning Dancer was able to illuminate the room, but so too does Optic Sunflower's weapon, so that's especially cool.
All right, we have all 8.
And what happens as a result of it? Well, first and foremost,
that's
Regeneration
a lot of guys.
Reploids, Mega Merge!
Oh god. I need to be jumping to hit Panda Bunny. Anyway, yeah, I hope you like
this. Yeah, go ahead. Say your piece.
I was just gonna say, I hope you like this sound because we're gonna hear a lot of it for a bit.
Yeah, this is all 8 Mavericks at once. So, as I alluded to, the gimmick being you collect the crystals, and then the game normally caps at 2, but you can break the glass to collect even more, and yeah, you can just totally decide, hey, I'm just gonna take you all on and get this over with. And the thing about that is the Jacob elevator did have this mechanic in the demo version at first, so Allison was like, you know what, I'm going to throw this in and see if people can access it themselves. And yeah, again, the most speed proficient of means to get through the overall boss refights for sure.
And there we go. We've
also
taken care of all 8.
Yeah, also very handy dandy that all of them do drop health refills when you take out one and then the next and then so on and so forth. Also, I love the fact that, yeah, those robots transform via the Mega Merge. That's it's a reference to Mega Man ZX and ZX Advent.
It's very cool. Also, you may be wondering, but you didn't backtrack. You just left the level and came back in. Doesn't matter. Sigma doesn't care. You're in his room. That's all that matters. The flag for the bosses being defeated has been set. Allah, we can fight him.
We call that the mini gateway skip, or the gateway skip, or something. I'll have to reconsult Zero Blade Edge for his choice of words for that one. I love the fact that the Saber / uppercut now also has Colonel's ground crush projectiles added to it as an added little effect.
What?
Pretty sure that's the same graphic.
It seems pretty close to it, yeah.
And also the desperation move no longer creates fire on the entire floor, just it does it on the sides, but leaves a patch of middle ground for you to still be able to stand in, which good call considering this game is a 16:9 aspect ratio, and therefore, as compared to the 4:3 of the original, it would be much harder to avoid his moves if that wasn't the case.
Oh yeah. And now it's time. The Sigma Palace.
So we're going to the moon as it was with the original game. And also, love the fact that the palace itself looks upside down, even though we don't have to do this in a reverse vertical sort of aspect.
Can never quite
of course,
remember.
we don't have the we don't have Zero, so we can't quite spin fly our way, but we can do the next best thing and ride a missile all the way over to the entrance. And now, our final Vile fight. Yeah, he had to get one last lick in, but this time, he's throwing in the classic element of using a ride armor.
He said, you used it against me in the first fight, now it's my turn. And it can act independently, which I don't remember if it did in the original game, but...
It did not. The idea was that you had to initiate a shield break in order to then leave it out of commission, and then the rest of the damaging would go down to Vile before he'd use it again, and you'd have to do this at least 3 times.
Gotcha. It was a pretty good
So,
Vile fight for me, actually. I'll take that.
That was a very good Vile fight. But yeah, long story short, this fight did not have the Riot Armor acting self-independently and was to give it an added touch of difficulty, which very good call in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's a very, very cool way to go with it. It adds difficulty while not just like making Vile hit harder. I always like ways of hello? Oh yeah, ways of increasing difficulty without just turning up numbers, I guess, if that makes sense.
Now, this final stretch of level within Sigma's Palace is still very much with the intent of having you try to avoid the spike pits, but it's not as egregious as the original game had it, because, you know, X can still do his air dashing, so it's a bit of a give and take situation, but, you know, once again, we cannot spin fly, so it goes without saying that there are some things we cannot simply cheese, and so we do have to be mindful of accidentally dying. But the good news being, you know, we have a lot of stuff in our arsenal, and of course you can still break the spikes using the Fire Dash or Bamboo Pandemonium's weapon. So it goes both ways, and yeah, yep, see, right there.
Right there. That was it.
That was it. Chef's kiss.
Ugh, you love to see it. All right.
Well,
and now,
oh boy.
I have to admit, this may be my favorite way to approach Sigma in any of the games, because we're just gonna kind of go and say hello really quick. Hey, what's up? Whoa, X, how did you freaking get over here?
Oh, Demon Sigma, they gave you a wonderful makeover in terms of the overall sprite work here. Allison is an amazing sprite artist. Seriously, support the guy.
So
follow him on Twitch. Seek out his social medias. The guy is just pretty sure he's working on a new game at this very moment anyway, and all that jazz. I'm gushing way too much, and Sigma's trying to shut me up. This fight completely removes the second phase mechanic of having to use a charge shot to cause a shield break and thus make him vulnerable. However, Sigma will also use a new desperation attack that completely destroys one of the walls instead of eternally lighting it on fire. Now, overall, he is also much more aggressive, and to that end, unlike the original X8, this final boss has to be taken on within a single life. If you die at any point within these fights, you gotta start all the way from Sigma. And yeah, that is the one trade-off that, while pretty difficult in its own right, I can also very much understand, because in this case, the game doesn't have that convoluted retry chip system, so, you know, having traditional lives in place of that does make it less punishing, but also I can tell that Allison wanted this to be still treated very, very seriously. And you are seeing Victory use the basic weapons despite running out of ammo. That is one benefit of having the right kind of helmet part to allow him that. Lumine Phase 1, by the way, it was all about using the desperation moves, but this time he just also straight up turns into the bosses as well. And yes, you can damage just about all of them using their weaknesses.
Alright, which just leaves the final Lumine.
And time will be on the final hit. So, as we enter our alluded to reused background, shoutouts to Kefka and Final Fantasy VI. Seraph Lumine, here we go. The attacks have been completely overhauled and ramped up to 11. You have these laser arrays that the game really tests your use of dodging. You absolutely do not want to come into this fight without the ability to double jump at the very least. Shoutouts if you have completed this fight with no armor parts at all. And yeah, he is still very much weak to... Actually, I can't remember if Antonian's weapon was his original weakness. Yeah, he's weak to Squeeze Bomb here, but...
Some of these patterns he gives are pretty brutal.
Yeah, they very much are. But
and now
we're not quite done
Paradise
yet.
Lost.
Yeah, Paradise Lost. We still got to go through that. And now...
Got him.
Time!
That's time!
Yo, off-screen hit!
Oh. I don't know why the timer's not stopping, but that's fine.
Had to mimic the little illuminate
There we go.
throw there.
Yeah, nice. And to top it off, we get one last little interaction between X and Lumine. But
Unbelievable. You may have defeated me, but it's too late to stop what's already begun. I can see you've started to realize the situation. This won't end with me, X. I can assure you that. I can't stand this pain anymore. Just make it quick. A much different interaction to what we had going, where Lumine this time completely asks us to mercy kill him, and also the presence of, or rather the lack of Axel this time around.
this is X. The enemy has been dealt with. I'm headed back now.
Roger. Yep. And also, the idea of seeing the armor shattered on the floor right there.
Mm-hmm. We have a canon explanation for why we never see it again in the as yet created X9. But anyway, I think that's it. Welcome, or not welcome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into Mega Man X8 16-bit. It is, I think, one of my favorite entries in the series now. Thank you, Allison, for making this wonderful game. Thank you, Tempest, for being on couch, helping me commentate. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for allowing me to figure out a way to come in a bit late. I was on the way back from a little bit of a family function going on, and I'm just grateful that we were able to make it work all the same, because, oh my God, we were so way ahead of the schedule, more than I could have ever expected. But that just means all the runners here have been doing fantastic, and so I'm glad to be here and see you do fantastic with this game. Seriously, this was great. It's always a good day to be running some Mega Man, folks.
Heck yeah. And that is going to be my last appearance on Derpathon this year, so once again, thank you to Ahmad and to everybody for having me. It has been a blast. From my first race with Tempest here in Stall to the end of X8, I've had a good time and talked to a lot of cool people. If you want to check out anything I do, you can find me at twitch.tv/victorycannon. Should be the same at victorycannon on YouTube for VODs and other cool stuff that I do. So thank you all again, and enjoy the rest of Derpathon. Or rather, before everybody. I go, anything you want to say, Steve? I kind of didn't think to give you the mic.
Oh yeah, no. Trust me, this was your segment to sign off on. But I guess if you want to follow me, my name is TempestMass1000 here on Twitch and YouTube. I do have a couple of social medias that you can follow. Yeah, that's mostly it, really. So, yeah, nope. And also, thank you for letting me do the impromptu voice acting. that was pretty fun.
That was awesome. You did great, man.
Heck yeah. All right, everybody. Take care.
Take care. Have a good one.